Part 6. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 51. In this way, when he sells part-time work rights on the forum, so many senior students buy directly from him. Therefore, Sakayanagi-san is probably contributing to this. And according to the evaluation given by the system at the beginning, Sakayanagi-Yuzu is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It only added fuel to the flames and failed to show any attack power. So, there is a high chance that the gambling agreement is directly made with the senior students, and then the school can compensate each of the participating senior students with 50,000 points for purchasing part-time work rights. Therefore, Oreki sent a message saying that she also made a lot of money with her part-time job privileges this time. In this way, compare that to Katsuragi-kun, another faction in the class. As expected, Sakayanagi-san's IQ and mobility are sharper. Because, take a look. There was nothing on the faces of those in the Banlieu sect that they had lost the opportunity to prostitute themselves to the school for free. It would be better to say that there is a feeling of relaxation. In other words, they were reminded by little Princess Sakayanagi that they had to raise money to participate in this wool-raising operation. In the statistics compiled by Horikita-san, there is no information about the participation of first-year students. But it doesn't say that they are not allowed to deceive their seniors or sisters to use their information to buy part-time work permissions, right? So there are times when I think about it like this. Oreki took out his mobile phone and clicked on his student ID card information. The school refunded the fee for purchasing the rights, and then rewarded 10 million, but it also needed to deduct 10% to Horikita. However, Asahina-senpai paid the 300,000 bet amount on Nagamo's behalf, willing to admit defeat. So, the final result is this. Name, Houtarou Oreki. Student ID, 100-861-0010. Class, Grade A, First Grade. Private account, 13,521,100 points. Then, he clicked on the system task. Main mission -20 million points battle. Task requirement, collect 20 million points in 3 months. Remaining period of task, 76/90 days. Task reward, superpower physique, physical transformation. Current progress, 13.521100 points/20 million. Remarks, all the points earned by the host can be entrusted to Horikita Manabu, who is about to graduate in 3rd grade, and they are absolutely guaranteed to be converted into cash. The progress is 67% complete, and the reward is a super powerful physique. The collected points can be converted into money when Horikita graduates. A two-pronged approach. Isn't this pretty good? In this way, in the first month of school, Oreki Houtarou made his first pot of gold, a young man's first 10 million. However, the wool of the 3 grades has been rolled out first, so there is no good plan to continue collecting points for the time being. Oreki-san chose to open up. In this way, April 30th. Students who already know the rules of this school know that there will be a big earthquake tomorrow. Teachers will announce the school's rules. At the same time, it is also the day when the class evaluation scores after the first month are announced. But what's wrong? Oreki-san. A rather cute girl's voice appeared next to Oreki. And when you turn around, you will find a super cute girl with short blonde hair looking at you seriously. This is Kushida Platikadon. Ever since the part-time job rights incident, Kushida-san thought we weren't friends? So wouldn't it make sense to maintain a relationship? For this reason, I would occasionally ask him out. Oreki probably understands. Kushida-san is very upset about the fact that she was not brought along with him about the part-time job permission issue last time. But unfortunately, Kushida-san, there are no plans to make money recently. Even Nagamo-senpai, who had money to spend, hid obediently after being demoted. So the opponent opened up their defense and had no weapons to attack for the time being. And Oreki also found that he seemed to be the bridge for Kushida to get closer to Horikita Suzune. Because every time she asked him out, she also wanted him to ask Horikita-san out. However, no matter how many times Horikita-san came out, no matter how enthusiastic Kushida Kikyo was, she always remained absolutely cold. So, this month has passed, and Kushida-san still has not developed a relationship with Horikita Suzune. And now, the three of them are on the first floor of the third grade, at the bulletin board. People from the student union had passed by just now. The class evaluation scores for the third grade this month have been updated again. Class A 2,530 points. Class B scored 1981 points. Class C scored 509 points. Class D has 0 points. And when they enter school, they are still. Class A 2,645 points. Class B 1,701 points. Class C 695 points. Class D 90 points. In other words, in this month's special exam, third grade Class A lost some points, but third grade Class B caught up, while Class C and D both fell behind in this exam. Class D of the third grade was the worst, falling directly to 0. In fact, Horikita Suzune was not easy to date. She used to be someone who had no feelings, no, she had no friends. So I don't get along well with others. And if you want her to come out, you need an excuse. However, Horikita-san has a flaw. As long as she mentions things related to her brother, she will immediately take the bait. So the excuse for asking her out today was to go to the first floor of the third grade class together after school to check out the third grade class evaluation scores. So she took the bait. Speaking of which, Kushida-san, is there anyone unique in your class? Oreki Houtarou is a student in Class A after all. So I also collected information about Class D for Class A. I came to first grade Class D on the first day of school to sell materials, and came to the conclusion that this class is hopeless, but it is undeniable that since Class D has people like Kushida Horikita who seem to have a good profile, but are problem students, then there may be other problem children of the same level or stronger. And these talents are the ones who need Class A's attention. It's very unique. There are probably a few, Kushida said. For example, Yuanji-san is not so gregarious, but rather disdainful of getting along with everyone. Quite a loner. But his academic ability is very high, and he seems to be in contact with upperclassmen recently, Kushida said. As for Kojinji, Oreki had an impression that when he went to sell the materials, he said he was unwilling to spend money on such things. What he said at the time was, there was no point even listening to it. And this sentence does not mean that the news is worthless, but that the students in Class D will not change it even if they hear it. So this is a pretty smart and sharp guy. Then, Matsushita-san seems to be superior, but her feelings are a bit ordinary. Kushida revealed another piece of information. There is a guy named Ayanokaji Kiyotaka in my class. I always feel that he seems to lack some common sense. As for Suyudu-san in the class, his academic ability is not high, but his physical fitness is very strong. He has joined the basketball club and has become a regular player. Then let's talk about Hirata-kun. Although he is gentle, handsome, and excellent in all aspects, he often gets into quarrels because of classmates in the class. Things like that, and doing soothing work will postpone even club activities. He's quite a team-oriented person. This statement seems to be a compliment. But the information revealed was that Hirata would choose to sacrifice something else for the sake of the team. And this team has just entered school and has just been formed, right? Do you need to pay so much? In other words, Hirata is being paranoid? Kushida revealed this information. But Oreki stared at Kushida-san, who looked like a little angel. This means that there is something on your mind, Kushida-san. Because you are also very paranoid about Horikita-san. Oreki thought in his mind. In this way. May 1st. The next day comes. Chapter 055. According to legend, someone offered 1 million to support Oreki. May 1st. This is the first day of the second month for new students entering this school. Yuchin High School is different from other schools in the outside world. It provides students with good treatment and a competition mechanism. That is the mobility ranking of the ABCD class. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 52. A class with a high class evaluation score is an upper class class. If the class evaluation score drops, the upper class will also drop. But only if you graduate as class A. When you finally graduate, can you enjoy the free entrance exam mentioned in the school's promotion and go to the university you want, or go directly to the job you want. So for the students in class A who enrolled from the beginning, class A is poison. Because I have to persist for 3 full years. And if you are pulled down during this process, you may lose morale. So I have to be in a state of high tension all the time. And today is also the day to start announcing the class evaluation scores of their class 1 month from now. Katsuragi-san got the information after consulting the teacher. They paid a premium on their first day of admission, and then got the bonus of an extra 200 points in class evaluation scores from the Board of Governors for being in compliance with the school's rules. Then they also performed hard. So many people are curious about how many points will be deducted from their class. Then I am also concerned about, how many points can I get compared with the 4 BCD classes. Over the past month, Katsuragi-kun has been known for his stability. His idea of a robust score-raising idea has been embraced by some students. So the number of people in Katsuragi's small group has now reached 28. But obviously, since he is a student in Class A, it would be foolish to bet on just one person. As Kamuro-san knows, there are no less than 10 people who have participated in both the Sakayanagi and Katsuragi factions. Then there were people on both sides who supported Oreki Houtaru. Therefore, the situation in Class A is still so complicated. But everyone is trying to maintain their position in Class A, which is understandable. Only. And among these students there is one who can fly solo. That was Oreki Houtaru. This is the class grass for Class A. A young man with quite outstanding appearance. He usually looks a bit lazy, but no one dares to underestimate his mobility. According to the school's rules, having 20 million points can exempt you from the penalty of dropping out of school, and you can also go to other classes. So as long as you get 20 million points, use them when you graduate, and go to class A of the 3rd grade when you graduate, you can reach the pinnacle of your life. And now Oreki-san. Name, Houtarou Oreki. Class, Grade A, 1st grade. Student ID, 100-861-0010. Private account, 13.5 million 7,900 points. Have huge points. Everyone is privately discussing that he may be the person who can collect 20 million points the fastest since the school was founded. So, the class was actually divided into 3, but the most people wanted to hug his thigh. Because he has a lot of money. For example, students who support Katsuragi-san need to collect 1 million points today to buy Katsuragi-san a ticket to enter the student union. But the person who collected the money was Oreki-san. So it's pretty straightforward which side to bet more on. Well. But Oreki-san doesn't seem to have much energy today. This is true. Because he had another dream last night. But this time the dream was a bit scary. It's the future with girls again. Certainly. The specific content was forgotten when I woke up. Rather, I have been dreaming about girls recently. But it wasn't a precognitive dream. Then it is an ordinary dream. Many dreams are related to thinking about things day by day and dreaming about things at night. And ordinary people can dream about girls. In other words, is it the time limit for me to stay in Youngmue? Want to have some contact with girls? As expected. When I came to this school, I saw all very cute and beautiful girls, so I must have been infected. Oreki-san thought to himself. Because the morning meeting hadn't started yet, everyone was very relaxed. Oreki came to his seat and a girl talked to him. Probably because I discovered that some girls were ranking the school's handsome boys on the forum. And then voted for him or something. There are things that come with being famous. But Oreki felt that he was already famous enough and didn't really need these additions. Only. Oreki-san, you are really popular by Sakayanagi Arasu. Oreki clicked on the small group on his phone. There is something special about this little group. They are members of the Banryu sect. But there were only 3 people inside. Him, Kamuro Maesumi, and then Sakayanagi Arasu. It was a group originally created when Kamuro's classmates who needed extra classes were transferred to Sakayanagi Arasu. The results are preserved. Occasionally, Sakayanagi Arasu will be talking inside. In the past 2 days, the number of times the other party spoke has increased. But Oreki didn't have much interest. Because what girls are discussing now is the ranking of handsome guys. Horikita Manabu, a third-year student, is on the list. Second-year Nagamo Masaru, and second-year Class B representative Kiriyama are also on the list. As for the first graders, he is on the list as the representative of Class A, and then Masayoshi Hashimoto, who is good at three-way betting, is also on the list. There is also a player in Class B of the first grade, Ryaji Kanzaki, who has slightly curly purple hair and looks not very cheerful. There were 3 students from Class D of the first grade, one was Rokusuke Kojinji, one was Yasuke Hirata, and the other was Kiyotaka Ayanokaji. As for Class C of the first grade, only Ryuan Sho is on the list. As a student in Class A, after discovering this ranking list, most of the students voted for Long Yuan. Because the last time Ryuan rushed into Class A, everyone had the impression that he wanted to find Oreki-san. So there is almost no need for anyone to organize, they are all trying to get garbage votes for Long Yuan. So the current ranking is Long Yuan at the bottom. I don't want to be popular, Oreki said in the small group, but the number of times I have been approached by girls recently has increased. Then Sakayanagi Yuzu seems to be inputting. But there were footsteps outside the corridor. So everyone looked over. That's when their head teacher arrived. In other words, let's start the class meeting. So, everyone sat down in their seats and put down their mobile phones. First of all, follow the school rules you knew when you enrolled. The first of every month is the time when the school will credit points into your account and notify you of this month's special examination. Normally, the class evaluation scores will be updated after the special examination, but the first month of your freshman year is the traditional code of conduct examination. And it didn't officially end until 0 o'clock today. Then, Teacher Mashima from Class A put on a brown suit today and looked more energetic. He seems to be in a good mood. I am indeed in a good mood. Because the students in Class A he leads are very outstanding. And this is the class evaluation score this time. Class A has 1,230 points. Class B has 570 points. Class C has 390 points. Class D has 0 points. From now on, the school will transfer private points into your account based on the class evaluation score x100 at a fixed time on the first of every month. The time is always 7 a.m. And now it is 6:59 minutes and 58 seconds. The homeroom teacher, Mr. Mashima, looked at the watch on his left wrist. Beep. 123,000 personal points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. 123,000 personal points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. 123,000 personal points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is XF10001. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 53. The phone of a student in the class who had not closed their account beeped. And the sounds are exactly the same. The points received are the class evaluation score announced by the teacher X100. It seems that my guess is correct. Our class performed very well, so even if it was deducted, it was not deducted much. At the same time, it also received a high score of 1230. Class B, which is closest to us, only has 570 points, so there is a 660-point gap. If we execute a solid plan, we have a promising future. Katsuragi-san is in a good mood. However, the extra 30 points was an unexpected surprise. Yes. Everyone was also surprised. Everyone knows that the basic score for class evaluation is 1000 points. 200 points is an extra reward for their class. On the first day of enrollment, they can get 2 million points to obtain special rewards according to the school's rules. However, no one expected that an additional 30 points would be added. Actually, 30 points can be added without deducting points. In other words, in the past month, everyone's behavioral standards have received a high evaluation, so this is a grade for Class A. There is a feeling of recognition. So everyone feels at ease. Only. Just when Katsuragi-san, who had been calm just now, was about to relax, he was suddenly startled. Not just him, but all the students around him had the same expression. Because everyone mentioned a special beep. 1 million personal points have been credited to your personal account. The transfer party is unknown. Among the notification sounds on everyone's mobile phones, there is a system notification sound that seems very different. Because everyone has received 123,000 points from the school, but you alone have received 1 million points? And the transfer party is still unknown. So everyone looked at the person who sent the 1 million payment message on his mobile phone. Oreki also looked at his phone. In addition to the fact that the transfer of 1 million points was received, there is also a note. You are mine during the 3 years in school, please protect me like a jade. Oreki. So. Is he being kept? Chapter 056. Which senior is so rich, just 1 million? Oreki Houtarou was kept. As long as you see the remark of the transfer information, you will have this idea. After all, he also has capital. He was listed on a ranking list of handsome men who didn't know who he was. He is lazy and handsome, but has extremely high insight and action ability, and can be trusted by others. At the same time, it looks great. Even someone like Kamuro-san, who always has a straight face, would admit that Oreki Houtarou has a face that girls like. For ordinary students, it is common to see senior students saying hello to him. Therefore, it is obvious to everyone that Oreki-san is very popular among girls. Only. Oreki-san is already so rich, and who else wants to spend money to support him? And it's 1 million at the first shot. Which senior classmate is so top-notch? Are you a senior from class A of the 2nd grade or class A of the 3rd grade? Everyone is very curious. Oreki-san. The student next to him looked at him. Oreki took another look at the transfer information. If you transfer money, a transfer source or transfer object will appear. A complete transfer information will include the transfer amount, transfer party, and transfer object. So this is the first time I have seen the current transfer party unknown. It's just that Kamuro-san has used points before to remove the flash and shutter sound that appear when taking pictures with a mobile phone. Therefore, it is not ruled out that some people also use points to hide their transfer information. Then there will be this strange scene where the transfer person cannot be seen. Could it be that it's Katsuragi-kun? Oreki looked in the direction of Katsuragi. The value of 1 million makes people very sensitive. When he sold the student union secretary job that Horikitaga-kun had given him, the asking price was also 1 million. No, the honest Katsuragi-san shook his head quickly. I haven't started to collect the points yet, so I said I didn't give it to you. Katsuragi-kun's character here is worthy of trust. And now each student has received 123,000 points from the school. The number of Katsuragi-kun's supporters has reached 28, so even if it is divided evenly, everyone only needs to contribute more than 30,000 points, and then they can collect 1 million. You can take it to Oreki-san in exchange for the currently vacant student council secretary position. But this is just an expectation, everyone's points have just arrived and haven't been collected yet for him. So I couldn't transfer the money to Oreki-san right away. Then the person I know now who has a huge number of points. Then Oreki looked in the direction of Sakayanagi Yuzu. But Itayanaga-san's cell phone was placed on the table and has not been touched since Mr. Majima came in. Teacher, you can continue to inform. After Oreki confirmed the transfer information again, he spoke to Mr. Mashima, who was also in a daze. Ahem. Teacher Mashima used to be a student of this school and was assigned to Class A, and then graduated as a Class A student. Have a good future. But now, even when he comes back to teach, he is assigned to Class A as the class tutor. So would Mr. Mashima, who is so experienced, be stunned? Yes. Will be stunned. The quality of students in Class A this year is outstanding. Among them, Katsuragi-kun, Sakayanagi, and Oreki are all the best in Class A. The kind that can lead the way. He knew that Katsuragi-kun was currently the student with the largest number of students in the class. But Sakayanagi is no ordinary person either. In the last part-time job rights incident, everyone knew that Oreki Houtarou was a ruthless point machine, but Sakayanagi Arisu was also the winner. That night, the number of points flowing into her student ID account reached 3 million. So that's a key student to watch out for as well. And it's not clear whether these 3 students appear in the same class at the same time. It's a good thing or a bad thing. So what needs to be worried is whether the 3 of them can cooperate. If they fight with each other, it will be a disaster for Class A. This is the only thing Mashima-sensei needs to be concerned about. Result. Oreki already has so many points, does anyone actually want to use the points to support him? So. Teacher Mashima has never seen the scene before. Then the notification of points is over. Then, the notification of the routine special examination will begin. Just like the exam rules you knew when you entered school, the school will arrange a special exam every month. Generally, we will notify you on the 1st, and then arrange the exam at the end of the month. Give you enough time to deal with it. And now is the 2nd month of your enrollment. Just like the 1st month, it is a routine exam, but the assessment is a written exam. The content of the exam is the courses learned last month plus the course range from this month to the 15th. The exam is on the 24th. Then the assessment content is 5 subjects, namely mathematics, English, chemistry, biology, and physics. However, the class evaluation score is not high. In this exam, a class evaluation score of up to 100 points can be obtained, and students who fail the exam will be punished by dropping out of school. In other words, exams, written tests. And this is Class A students from the Sakayanagi school started their study sessions some time ago, so they are not worried. The other people are also top academics and don't worry. Oreki Houtarou's strength first classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 54. It's Kamuro-san. After nearly a month of makeup lessons, Kamuro's classmates can now pass the exam with a score of 60 plus. So you no longer have to worry about failing. On the contrary, this time the exam can only score 100 points at most, which is reassuring. Because the current gap between Class A and Class B is 660 points. So, in the class ranking competition, their class gained a huge advantage, making it difficult for the lower classes to climb up. So, today on the first, everyone in Class A is very happy. But for other classes, it's very hopeless. Why is this like this? This is Class C, first grade. The evaluation score of our class is only 390 points, and then I only received 39,000 private points. Ryuan, there are so few points. Why is this happening? Didn't you master the school's rules in less than 2 weeks? Class C became very noisy. To be precise, everyone's mentality was a bit explosive. Waste. In this regard, Long Yuanxiang only has this evaluation. I told you the essence of this school so early. As a result, your behavior still resulted in various points deductions. That's why the final evaluation score for this class is so low. But Ryuan, you yourself also deducted a lot of points, a boy said. Didn't you lead someone to attack Oreki from Class A? And hearing this student say this, other students also looked over. Before the classes were integrated in Ryuan, Daiichi Ishizaki took the lead and everyone participated in the store opening plan carried out by Houtarou Oreki of Class A. But this plan was terminated by Long Yuan. So the points that had been paid were gone, and everyone lost an extra 10,000. Result. You believed in Long Yuan, and now you get such rubbish evaluation scores? Not even 50,000 points a month. Shut up. But Ryuan Sho said immediately. If I don't charge, do you think this month's living expenses are enough? This month, the points credited to Class C students' accounts are only 39,000, and according to the contract with Oreki-san, everyone will have to pay another 39,000 each month for the next 5 consecutive months. Now, after deducting 30,000 from 39,000, there is only 9,000 points left for living expenses. How can it be possible? So the student shut up. And Long Yuan continued. I didn't deduct that many points. If you don't want to accept my words, then go away and drop out of school automatically. There was only one table between Long Yuan and the student. So he kicked the table away. The boy was shocked. Why are you kicking my table? And the camera is still there, the boy said quickly. You made the class deduct points again. Madness. But Long Yuan said. This school puts strength first, and class competition is fluid, so we don't deliberately create such a long distance, but hope that students will compete with each other on a class basis. So the code of conduct will only be implemented for 1 month. And now no points will be deducted no matter how bad you do, Ryuan Xiang said. That's right, Hiri. He looked at a silver-haired girl sitting in the 3rd row. This is the beauty of their Class C, and she is also a think tank. There are 3 think tanks in Long Yuan's small team. One is him, one is Canada wearing glasses, and the other is silver-haired Shiana Hiri. I think so too. Otherwise, the lower class will keep deducting points and losing points, and then the upper class will be far ahead. Then there will be no competition to produce excellent ideas and it will not be possible. So the code of conduct test is just a way for the school to punish us freshmen. The silver-haired girl stood up and said. But I think what we need to pay attention to now is how to take the next written test. I have to drop out of school because I failed. It's very stressful. If you fail, you will drop out of school. Very stressful? No. This is very scary, okay. Because, here in Class C, including Ryuan himself, are also bad students. Those who are good at academics are Canada, Hiri and 2 or 3 more. So, it's not just that I don't have enough points, will I be expelled from school as a result? The students in Class C who wanted to resist Ryuan suddenly calmed down. Then he looked at Long Yuan eagerly. Ryuan said that if you obey him, he will occupy the position of a tyrant, but he will control the class and climb up. In other words, he will be responsible for special examinations and so on. Yes. Everyone began to spontaneously transfer the points that Ryuan had said he wanted to give to him. Each person transfers 20,000. Long Yuan's account received a payment of 780,000. Long Yuan. Sure enough, it was good to have a think tank, and the situation was stabilized immediately. Then the points were collected smoothly. For Ryuan, he doesn't value class evaluation scores, because this thing is only useful when graduating from 3rd grade and graduating as Class A. So, he now values points more than class evaluation scores. He wants to collect points. And here is Class B, 1st grade. Chapter 057 Horikita, be careful of Chibashira. Horikita, don't worry, I have B numbers. 1st grade Class B is here. It is different from Class A, who knew the school rules on the first day of school, and Class D, who knew the rules after being sold information by Oreki-san. Class B's insight into the school is not even as good as Class C's. By the time Ichinos obtained the school's rules from Nagamo, 2 weeks had passed. However, the first month code of conduct exam begins upon admission. If you don't pay more attention, it's easy to lose points. Therefore, even Ichinos told the classmates. But Class B is still one step behind other classes. So it's a very bad situation? No. Because our class received a class evaluation score of 570. It's a little stressful. Class A's scores are so much higher than ours. But as long as we unite, we can definitely shorten the distance in the next exam. I hope to be promoted to Class A together with everyone. First year Class B did not cancel the agreement with Oreki to borrow money to open a store. So after getting the points this month, the 15 students are going to transfer another 30,000 points to Oreki-san for a total of 450,000 points after class. And they don't have too bad negative emotions about the current situation. It's better to say that their mood is actually pretty good. Because even though their class evaluation scores are so far apart from Class A, they are still Class B. Saved his position. Then, together with everyone, we had the goal of being promoted to Class A. At the same time, I am also very open-minded. Because now I just missed one exam and started late. But as long as you continue in this school, there will be more exams. So there are still 3 years to go up. So everyone is still very confident. In other words, very united. Don't be discouraged. And this is also the advantage of Class B. Then we arrived at Class D. Class D is already miserable. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 55. Everyone was in a daze at the words 0 points for Class D written by the homeroom teacher Sae Chibashira. When I opened the student ID card on my mobile phone, there was no transfer record of points entered by the school today. During lunch break, Oreki Houtarou, Horikita Suzune, and Kushida Kikyo reunited again. After the 3 of them finished their lunch, they came to meet at the school's fountain. To put it simply, it is an exchange of information. Your class is really strong. Oreki said with the same comment. The evaluation scores for the 4 first grade classes are as follows. Class A has 1,230 points. Class B has 570 points. Class C has 390 points. Class D has 0 points. Among them, my class knew the school rules on the first day, and Class D also knew the results on the first day. The result is 1,230 points and 0 points. Although I have the thought in my heart that even if Class D is given a chance, Class D will not be able to get up. As a result, what Class D actually showed was 0 points. That's so exciting. The open book test can still be a duck egg. In some ways it can be called too strong. Therefore, if he had been assigned to Class D at the beginning, Oreki might have chosen to run away or mess up on the spot. There are too many pig teammates to help him up. And today is also the day that Kushida-san wants to invite Horikita-san to travel with her. So when Oreki met Kushida, Oreki asked Horikita out as well. However, Horikita-san is still the same as before. Whenever she has free time, she starts reading the vocabulary book. He is a person who studies very seriously. And this is also criticized. Horikita-san is always studying, which makes everyone feel that it is difficult to get in touch with him, Kushida said in a low voice. Some boys in the class think Horikita-san is very beautiful, and then they don't dare to talk to her. I don't think it's any good to talk to them. However, Horikita Suzun raised her head and glanced at Kushida coldly with her beautiful fox eyes. Besides, you have become annoying recently, Horikita Suzun said. Not just blocking me at my door every day. Then, for the 10th time, please Oreki to bring me out. What on earth do you mean? Horikita Suzun directly criticized Kushida Kikyo, who was like an angel. Horikita Suzun can tell the difference clearly. On Oreki's side, it was his brother who entrusted him with the responsibility, and would also send money every month for care expenses. Oreki-san is someone that his brother approves of. At the same time, he was also the one who convinced her. I followed Oreki for a month. She also gained something. Oreki's actions and thoughts often go beyond the student's thinking. And these are the things she needs to learn. Although the work Oreki-san assigned her to do made her feel like she was being treated as a tool, the rewards were generous. She has already received a huge return of 1.3 million yuan. Wealthier than any student in the class. So, no one in this school has come up with the grand plan of 20 million yuan, and she has seen a little hope. Oreki-san suggested that she collect 20 million to prove her strength, which made her think she could try it. So she is taking the solo route. So Horikita Suzun is not interested in Class D? Rather, she is actually a bit stubborn. She didn't want to admit that she was trash, so she wanted to prove that she was a seed player who was assigned to the trash heap of Class D by the school. However, after teacher Chibashiro proposed that the written exam would start on the 24th, the students in the class cried and howled instantly. Because 80% of students are bad students. So if they fail the written exam and have to drop out of school, their mentality has exploded. At this time, she stood up and said that the exam was on the 24th, and it was only the first, so she could do tutoring. Study sessions can be held. The result was ignored. I think she is relatively cold, and if she scolds her during study sessions, she will not want to study or anything like that. But if Hirata-kun or Kushida-san holds a class reunion, then they will attend. Therefore, Horikita Suzun finally took the initiative, and then nothing happened. It's really unpleasant. In other words, she simply doesn't understand why someone fails an exam. Incomprehensible. Today, Horikita-san has no friends, and he also doesn't understand love. Maintaining the image of a straight woman. I hate it. I just want to be friends with Horikita-san. When Horikita Suzun scolded her, Kushida-san showed an aggrieved expression. You actually hate me, but Horikita Suzun didn't appreciate it. Kushida. Little Kushida then stopped talking. If there is no denial, it also means it may be admission. So Kushida, you are very twisted. On the one hand, you hate Horikita, but you still want to stick to her. Is disgusting Horikita happy? Is it disgusting to be happy? Oreki. This is the way these two get along, and Oreki is not involved. Kushida is obsessed with Horikita, and a person who has an obsession means that she may be the one to get the upper hand. As soon as you get ahead, you will subconsciously give up some of your other interests. So, asking Kushida to work is basically the kind of work that requires hard work, but only requires a relatively low price. Looking at it this way, isn't it pretty good? Oreki-san still has the main task of collecting 20 million to complete, so he is still willing to use Kushida-san, who is easy to use and cheap. Kushida seemed to be used to Horikita not liking her, so he immediately looked at Oreki-san. It's just that Oreki-san took the initiative to ask me out today. She used Choo-Choo's pitiful offensive. Did you find another way to earn points? He raised his head slightly and looked at him with downward eyes. His figure is also in the pupils. It's easy to get excited. But this level of attack. This level of attack. He is already resistant, Kushida-san. Oreki-san thought to himself. But Kushida held his hand again, and the girl's soft little hands instantly enveloped him. And a month has passed, maybe because of the growth period, Kushida-san's heart seems to be a little bigger under his clothes. Being so close, one feels a bit confused as to where to place one's gaze. And she also has a sweet smell on her body. Is this a sweet girl? The girls in Class D are indeed scary. Indeed, I asked you out because I discovered a new way to get points, Oreki said. Then hopefully start making some preparations. I think the remuneration this time should be around 4 million. Click. After hearing this sentence, the girl with straight black hair and black silk stockings who was reading the words immediately put down the word book. Beautiful fox eyes looked over. Kushida-san's face also had a smile again, and he looked over with expectant eyes. Oreki. You are all too realistic. After complaining in his mind, Oreki-san explained the plan. Mr. Majima in my class informed me that this written test is a regular test, Oreki said. And since it is a common practice, it means there are traces to follow. In other words, do you want to obtain information from seniors? Kushida-san understood the gist of it all at once. Convention, then it means that this was also the case in the past, so the seniors and sisters have experienced it. Has experience. Yet Oreki nodded. I need you to get some information. So. Kushida-san became pitiful, since it's something I need to do I need to change the remuneration? Only 5%. When it came to money, Oreki-san remained calm. And Horikita-san is still at 10%, because if she is found out about what I arranged for her to do, she may be expelled from school. So the risk factor is high. The reward is also high. And after you get the information, you can share it with your class, Oreki said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 56. Oh. That's it? So your plan is high risk. Who wants to drop out of school just to get a 5% salary increase? Kushida-san only hesitated for a second. Then I'd better do the work of obtaining intelligence, she said. She is very approachable, has communication skills and emotional intelligence, so it is easy to establish good relationships with others. So this job is not difficult for her. And just like what Oreki said, since this written examination is a regular practice, if useful information can be obtained, it can be applied to the class. She was in Class D and became friends with most of the people. But there are also some who are reluctant to enter, such as Horikita Suzune, for example, Kojinjiro Kusuke, who had an argument with her before enrolling to give up her seat. But let these two people go for now. because they have very good academic abilities, so they can be fearless in this exam. But most of the other students are poor students and are facing failure. So if a solution is found that can save everyone from dropping out of school, will it be easier for her to get everyone's attention and gratitude? Yes. This appeals to her. At the same time, Oreki-san said that this time the plan can get 4 million, so the 5% reward is also 200,000. Today, teacher Chibashira announced that the class evaluation score of Class D is 0. So naturally, everyone will have no living expenses this month. She had previously received 153,000 from Oreki. Although part of it was used, there was still 120,000 left, and she lent it to some classmates in batches. Got a good impression. However, it is useless to keep borrowing because no one has the money to pay back. So she was still looking forward to continuing to wait to be led away by Oreki-san to get more money. In this way, this task can really be done. And then there's one more thing. When he found out that Kushida-san was going to the cafeteria to randomly intercept a third-year Class D senior whose points had reached 0 this month and seemed to be relatively poor, while there was still some time left during lunch break, Oreki called her to stop her. "Horikita-san, can you show me your student ID card?" Oreki said. "Why?" Even so, Horikita Suzun handed him her cell phone. Click to open. Name, Horikita Suzun. Class, Class D, 1st grade. Student ID, 100-861-0050. Private account, 1,393,400 points. Oreki clicked on the details of his private account. I only saw daily expenses. There is no such thing as transferring money to anyone. So he handed the phone back to Horikita-san. Actually, something happened, Oreki said. With that said, he showed his student ID card. I received 4 transfers today. This is the extension of the agreement that the classmates in Class B made when I opened the store before. In the second month, each person will give me 30,000 yuan. So, a total of 450,000 came in. And my class scored 123,000 points in school today. The third transfer is a transfer of 1 million from Katsuragi-san in my class. I sold the position of secretary of the student union that the student council president invited me to Katsuragi-san. Profound. That's it? Therefore, students in Class B and Class C in the 1st grade have different choices. Class B chose to continue Oreki's plan to open a store. And this has nothing to do with Horikita and Kushida. He has already given them the points he could get at the beginning. Only. By the way, can positions in the student union be sold? Have you contacted the student council president? Kushida-san was a little surprised. She felt that when school started, she had spent 10,000 points to learn the school rules from Oreki-san. Result. I still don't know much about the rules of this school. And then there's this. This 1 million points. The source is unknown. Oreki clicked on the message. This is the transfer I received in class this morning. Kushida and Horikita also saw the note. You are mine, please stay safe for me during the 3 years you are in school. This information seems very ambiguous. Moreover, she is as protective as Jade and so possessive. In other words, Oreki-san wants to investigate who is keeping him. Indeed. The person who said this is probably a girl. And the 1st graders, look at their class evaluation scores, they don't have much money. So there is a high possibility that she is a senior classmate. So let her go and inquire about this information. And if you find out the information about the senior, what will Oreki-san do? Kushida-san showed a cute expression. It seemed like she was trying to get his attitude. Probably to reject the other party, Oreki said. I think love is a two-way street, and no one needs to support the other. In other words, Oreki-san looks so fair and tender that he is perfect for being taken care of, but he doesn't want to rely on his reputation to make a living. Is he unexpectedly a tough person? Kushida refreshed his impression of Oreki-san in his mind and left quickly. Then Oreki and Horikita Suzun were left in the same place. Then wait until Kushida gets the information before contacting him, Oreki said. Although Horikita-san is quite eye-catching, every time I see her she wears black high socks, which is very attractive to leg control. After all, she has long, straight black hair, a top-notch beautiful girl, and also has black stockings. But she doesn't understand love. In other words, it is basically impossible to fall in love while studying. He looked cold and awe-inspiring. But for Oreki, he often dreams about her. Horikita-san in the dream is much more sexy than she is now, and she can still wear black stockings. Only. He dreamed that he would marry her in the future, and she also gave him a cup from an airplane or something. It's so real. And wouldn't this make it impossible to look directly at the other person's face? So the recent Oreki-san actually wants to avoid Horikita-san. Did he? However, at this time, Horikita Suzun's cell phone vibrated. I saw her brows furrowed. Chibashira-sensei asked me to go to the top floor of the teaching building, she said. At this time, Oreki was a little curious. Because he remembered the task of choosing between the two that he triggered the night he met Horikita Manabu. He remembered that the mission option he quickly deleted was when Chibashira discovered his strength, and Chibashira used his savings to buy Class D. And Chibashira will do whatever it takes to support him. I hope he takes Class D to fly Class A once. In other words, Sae Chibashira is not only a fierce person, but also a ruthless person. At the same time, he is also a fierce person who is obsessed with being promoted from Class D to Class A. As for the reason, we can get a feel for it from the information revealed by Horikita-san before. Sae Chibashira was also a student of this school in the past. He was born in Class D, but he flew to Class B with the students from Class D to attack Class A. It just failed in the end. But eventually came back here to teach. The professor is also in Class D. In other words, is it obsession? But according to the system prompts, she is willing to spend money to buy him into Class D. What a crazy operation, you teacher. The obsession of girls is really scary. Oreki glanced at the transfer that showed unknown on his phone. You are mine, please stay safe for me during the 3 years you are in school. He felt that the person who transferred 1 million to him was also quite obsessed. As you can see from Kushida-san, obsessive people are troublesome. So for him, being noticed by someone with a strong obsession is not a good thing. You can go find Chibashira-sensei. Oreki thought about Horikita Suzun's identity. Horikita Suzun is not only her tool for participating in various point collecting plans, but she is also Horikita Manabu's younger sister. With this sister at hand, you can often get all kinds of information from the student council president without spending any money. At the same time, Oreki also accepted the task of taking care of his younger sister Horikita Manabu. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 57. Horikita Manabu has paid 500,000 points, and will pay another 50,000 points every month. And Horikita Suzun is a student of Class D. Different classes, then can act as eyes and ears. So, all things considered, Oreki didn't want the card in Horikita Suzun's hand to be taken away easily. But, that night, you also heard that teacher Chibashira in your class was a ruthless person. I highly doubt that she asked you to come over and ask you to take Class D to climb up. Don't be stupid. You have been in Class D for a month. Do you think you can climb up with them? Oreki said. Horikita Suzun. Horikita-san didn't reply. But think seriously. The tutoring she proposed in the class today was rejected, and it was for help, and no one appreciated it. At the same time, Class D also has a class evaluation score of 1000 points when enrolling, which is the same as the other three classes. Furthermore, Class D also had the advantage of learning the school's rules from Oreki-san on the first day of school. It can be said that the right time, right place, and right people make this the most suitable opportunity for Class D to move up. Result: can't you take an open book test? No one took the chance. The class evaluation score is 0. This incident also had a shock to Horikita-san. Also, I'm in Class A, do you think you can beat me? Oreki added again, and in Class A, there are people who are as good as me, and even have very high IQs. I have considered letting him lead Class A, Oreki said. So do you think you can withstand the size of Class A? Profound. That's it? 2. Horikita Suzun's body, which had been stiff due to thinking for a moment, suddenly softened. Yes. To be promoted to Class A, it means defeating Houtarou Oreki. So can Houtarou be defeated? It can't be done. Her current plan to collect 20 million still has to follow the other party's actions. And this was also the opportunity that her brother had won for her to follow. Horikita Suzun was almost asked to drop out of school by her brother, but thanks to the appearance of Oreki-san, she was able to stay in school. And how to get into Class A like this? Can't beat it? So, it's better to save money and fly Class A alone, and then this will be enough for my brother to recognize me. I understand, Horikita-san said expressionlessly. I'll go see Chibashira-sensei and reject her. Oreki nodded. He also took action next. So Suzun and Horikita went in two directions. Horikita-san goes to find Chibashira, while Houtarou Oreki prepares to go to the student union. He wanted to know the information about the person who transferred the money to him. As long as you use points in this school, you can buy anything. And since someone can use points to hide the transfer information, he can also use points to reveal the transfer information again. Although he, Oreki Houtarou, is still weak, he is also strong-willed and does not necessarily have to be taken care of by others. Student Union. Oreki Houtarou checked the time on his phone. Similar to the last time I came here during lunch break, there were not many student union members on duty at this time. This time there is only one member of the student union. But the other party is an old acquaintance. He has short blonde hair, a cheerful face, and a disdainful look in his eyes. This is Nagamoya. But this is talking about the Nagaun I saw last time. The Nagaun I see now seems to be in a bad mood and has a long face. It will slightly damage his image, probably because his masculine charm value has dropped by about 30%. After all, he is the only one here now, so there is no need to pay so much attention to image. But this also shows that Naun is actually a person who knows his image quite well. He knows how to make a good sound and how to put on an expression that makes people feel handsome. He is a social person. Dong dong. Oreki knocked on the door gently. Please come in, Task. Just as Naun opened his mouth, he saw a boy with short black hair and green eyes standing at the door. This is Houtarou Oreki, the new student. He was also the one who brought him to this point. Yes. Nagamoya used the word degraded. During her last part-time job, she unexpectedly learned the school's attitude from Oreki. It made him sick. But he is unwilling to delegate power. The position of vice president of the student union was also removed, and he was demoted to a mere accountant. At noon, the president took other members to patrol. He was not taken with him and left on guard duty. Do you think accounting is not important? This made him feel that his status was once again affected. Except for Akane Tachibana, who sides with Senior Horikita, most of the students in the student union belong to him. But his position was pulled down, and the guy like Kiriyama seemed a little restless. Kiriyama refers to the class representative of 2nd grade Class B. Last year, they were still students in Class A, but they were surpassed by Nagamo's class and fell into Class B. After Horikita Manabu brought Nagamo to the student union, he discovered that Nagamo was buying people from the student union, so he also brought Kiriyama to the student union. The position of vice president was also given. However, whoever Nagamo was, he immediately knew that Horikita Manabu wanted to use Kiriyama to suppress him. So, Nagamo also made adjustments to Kiriyama. However, now that his status has declined, there is no guarantee that Kiriyama will continue to be obedient. After all, Kiriyama was a student of Class A in the past, so he probably still had a hidden ambition to take back Class A. Kiriyama resisted, but the students in Kiriyama's class would not persuade him. In the past, when he could absolutely suppress Kiriyama, Kiriyama didn't resist like a beaten dog, but now he is at a disadvantage. In other words, this is not a good thing for Nagamo. Then, when Nagamo was sulking alone, he found Houtarou Oreki appearing. "What are you doing here?" Probably because he didn't like Oreki, Nagamo's tone was not good. "Vice President Nagamo, I'm a little curious about how many points you have accumulated now," Oreki said. "Nanyun? Vice President Naun? Doesn't this guy know that his vice president was removed from his post and demoted to accountant? And Nagaun would not remind him of this kind of thing. What do you want to do? Do you want to make a bet again?" "I won't participate," Nanyun refused directly. In other words, he should have refused in the first place. He is a second-year student, and the school's class competitions involve students from the same class. There are very few cross-grade exams where he competes with other grades. Then why do you want to fight with first graders? So, it has nothing to do with Oreki Houtarou. He handles his sophomore year on his own. This is what Naun has been thinking for the past half-month. The girls in the second grade are not as beautiful as the girls in the first grade, but there are no ugly girls in this school. He also has his childhood sweetheart Asahina. So it doesn't hurt to be a little more reserved. The most important thing now is to get the position of student council president. The school may not be satisfied with his approach, but as long as he gets the position of student council president, he is qualified to talk directly with the school and get the most valuable solution. This is the greatest benefit. Therefore, Nagamoya does not want to fight Oreki now. Senior Horikita had already invited Oreki to be the student council president, but Oreki refused. Then at the end of the second period today, a freshman named Katsuragi Kahei from Class A of the first grade reported to the student council president. The position Oreki didn't want was sold to him for 1 million. Although Horikita-senpai's face was expressionless, he seemed a little disappointed. In other words, Horikita-senpai still hopes that Oreki will join the student council. But Oreki won't go in. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 58. Yes. Why does Nagamo think he must be an enemy of Oreki? Nagamo then looked at Oreki. "I have more than 2 million points on hand right now. But you won't be given a point. Actually, I was thinking about showing my weakness first. Today is the first, the day when the school score comes in. Because he is the ruler of the second grade, each class allocated another 400,000 to honor him, so he got 160 today. 10,000. Add 1 plus, and the total in hand is about 5.2 million. But he felt that Oreki was poisonous, so he showed weakness and reported a number that would not be unacceptable even if he was tricked. And it doesn't matter if you are really cheated, it is equivalent to buying a safe life for 2 million. After all, he was planning to become the student council president. Before that, if Oreki could be bribed or prevented from interfering, it would be worthwhile. Yunya is making the determination of a strong man to cut off his wrist. 2 million, So it's about the same as I expected. Oreki nodded. Thank you Vice President Nagamo for your sincerity. Nanyun. So are you really thinking about the points in his hand? Do you really want to swallow these 2 million? I always feel a little uneasy. While he was thinking this, he noticed that Oreki took out his cell phone. Actually, I came to the student union to check an account. Someone deposited 1 million points into my Student Idaho account in the morning, but the other party hid the information. I want to know the other party's information. Oh. That's it? Is there such a good thing? Could it be said that it was a previous reward from the school? No, that's not possible. More than 10 days have passed since the incident regarding the right to work. It's impossible for the school to give Oreki any more rewards. That is to say, did someone really give Oreki money? Is it Baichi from the senior class? Is any woman attracted to Oreki Houtarou's looks? In this school, can you actually rely on your reputation to make a living? Nanyun felt that he had been a little mentally damaged. If you want to query information, you need to pay 100,000 points, Nanyun said with a straight face. Okay, the price did not exceed Oreki's expectations, so he agreed immediately. Nanyun. Yes, this price is in accordance with the rules of the student union, but this is 100,000. Don't you even frown? Really? This guy really has a lot of points. So, Nagayunya walked to another work computer. Show me the transfer information, he said. Each transfer has an amount, the transfer party, the payee, and then a transaction code will appear. In other words, what he wants to query is the transaction code. If it is an ordinary student who hides his/her transfer information, it is possible, but the transaction code cannot be hidden. You can enter the school system through the student union's computer and query information through transaction codes. After saying this, he found that Oreki didn't speak. But looking at him, and the eyes seemed to say, don't just say it, do it quickly. Nanyun. Nanyun. Once upon a time, he became a service worker? Naeun took a deep breath. So he entered the information click by click. Unknown mistake. Unknown mistake. You do not have permission. Vice President Nagamo, how can you make so many mistakes in a string of transaction codes? Oreki looked over. It seems that Naeun's execution ability has been questioned. Nanyun. I made no typos. There is only one result, and the student union does not have enough authority to query it. The other party may have paid a higher price to hide the information, Naeun said. With that said, he glanced at the transfer interface of Oreki's phone again. There are notes on it. You are mine, please stay safe for me in these 3 years. Hey, where did this Yandere lady's speech come from? There must not be such a girl in the 2nd grade. So she is a 3rd-year senior? Hateful. He also wants a senior who can transfer 1 million points casually. But you can go to the council, which has higher authority, Nanyun added. There's no need for this, Oreki said, since we can't look it up, forget it. Inquiring with the student union already costs 100,000, but if I go to the chairman, I'm afraid it will cost 500,000 to 1 million. That would make no sense. At most, I save the points. If the other party asks for it, I don't want to complete it and give it back to her/him. Profound. This is indeed a wise decision. It is really not cost-effective to receive a transfer of 1 million and then spend another 500,000 to check the information. And Oreki Houtarou used she/he to describe the transfer party. In other words, it might not be the cute senior, but it might be some boy who wants to keep Oreki Houtarou. Because the other party has hidden the information, it cannot be traced, so naturally the other party's gender cannot be confirmed. So, this transfer looks wonderful, but it might actually cause some trouble, right? Thinking about it this way, Nanyun felt in a good mood. Then I'll take my leave. Oreki quickly scanned the student union's QR code, entered 100,000 points, and left. Whatever, Nagayun didn't want to serve Oreki. And Oreki walked to the door. Suddenly turned around. Actually, I have always felt that the position of vice president is somewhat inappropriate for senior Nagamo, but now, being an accountant is more than enough. Hee. Nanyun has already reacted. Why Oreki Houtarou didn't know that he was demoted was a lie. Just to laugh at him on purpose. Day. Click. Naeun directly swept the documents off the table. But at this time, he heard Oreki's voice in the corridor outside. I have something to come to the student union for, but Nagamo-senpai has already helped me finish it. Really, you can actually communicate with him normally. The first voice was Oreki's voice, and the following voice was Horikita-senpai's voice. And Horikita-senpai's voice was very close. The door has been opened. Horikita Manabu stood at the door. Then I noticed the files all over the floor. Some parts of the document are completed and some are not. Nanyun, are you dissatisfied with my demoting you to accountant? So you want to vent your anger on documents, Horikita Manabu said. Nanyun. No, Horikita-senpai, listen to me, it's definitely not like this. It's the wind that opens the window dash. I'm not that kind of person. As a result, Nanyun was asked to stay and work overtime at night. Oreki-san, on the other hand, left the corridor of the student union and remained calm as usual. He doesn't like trouble. Then there is no need to provoke Nagayun. What he did just now was actually just a deliberate move after he discovered that Horikita Manabu was back. The members of the student council went on a trip and deliberately left Nagamo alone. It was definitely impossible to say it was just a coincidence. In other words, even if Nagamo Masaru was demoted and became an accountant, Horikita Manabu was still worried about Nagamo. So, Oreki's actions just now were actually just showing Horikita Manabu's direction of alignment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 59. Then even if his next operation may be a bit extreme, Horikita Manabu can hold it back. Because he was quarreling with Naeun. It is in the interest of Horikita Manabu, and this Horikita brother can accept it. And main mission -20 million points battle. Task requirement, collect 20 million points in 3 months. Remaining period of task, 59/90 days. Task reward, super power physique, physical transformation. Current progress, 16.089 million points/20 million. Remarks, all the points earned by the host can be entrusted to Horikita Manabu, who is about to graduate in 3rd grade, and they are absolutely guaranteed to be converted into cash. 80.4% of the progress is completed, and the reward is a super power physique. Note, transparency, unlimited times per day, can be directly transparent, but will lose effect as long as it is touched by others. Oreki is only 4 million points short of completing the main mission. So if there are 4 million here in Nanyun, then it is the most energy-saving method and it is directly completed. But if Nagamo only has 2 million, he can't just take the money from Nagamo-senpai. So at that moment, Oreki decided to target the second-year students to obtain points. After all, it's impossible for a sophomore to be unable to raise 4 or 5 million, right? Therefore, this action may be too drastic, so let's try to get Horikita's relationship back first. With this thought in mind, he walked forward against the blowing May wind. Then click on the text message interface of your phone. Called up the number of Kuruzawa Megami. The last message she sent is still on the page. I just learned the school rules in the morning, Kushida-san and Hirata-san explained in the class meeting. Then I thought, since you are here to sell information, are you short of money? I spent part of it yesterday, and I still have 80,000 points left. If you need the points, I will transfer them to you first by Kuruzawa Megami. Chapter 058 Chibashira Game. Teacher Chibashira, I will destroy your ambition. This was the number he left when he went to Class D to sell information on the first day of school, and when he left, he met the super cute girl with D spots, Kuruzawa Megami. Kuruzawa Megami hugged him directly. He looked like he knew him. Then the next day I felt that he was short of points, so I transferred my remaining 80,000 points. At that time, she already knew the rules of this school, and she also knew that being in Class D, she might not be able to get many points in the future. The result also turns over almost most of the points. So it's a personal favor. At that time, Oreki returned 30,000 points to her, and he still had 50,000 points left to pay. He believed that this kindness was both acceptable and worth giving back. As a student in Class D, she didn't have that many opportunities, so he planned to keep the 50,000 points for a while and then return them to her in double the amount. This is somewhat selfish, because Kuruzawa Megami knew him unilaterally. But this is certainly not a case of porcelain. In his opinion, it's probably because he has obtained the superpower rewarded by the system, and then the other party will have contact with him. As soon as he thought of this, Oreki-san pressed the back of his head with one hand. Oreki Houtarou, 18 years old, an ordinary high school student. I think. After arriving at Yuchin High School, he awakened the superpower system and completed tasks to obtain superpowers. And now he has acquired 3 superpowers. Teleportation, including ignoring the number of times to return home, transparency, and precognitive dreams. You can have dreams that predict the future 3 times a week at a designated time. And in his precognitive dream, there was a part of Kuruzawa Megami. Even after growing up. In other words, at some point in the future, he will date her. My classmate Sakayanagi also said that marriage is the grave of love. Oreki doesn't think it's a good thing for students to fall in love in high school. Although he doesn't completely resist it, he has mixed feelings. Only. After all, you know the future, so doing nothing now is obviously a bit subtle. So he accepted Kuruzawa-san's kindness, and now he was ready to repay her kindness twice. Class D's class evaluation score this month is 0. It is equivalent to the school not giving them living expenses. As a member of Class D, Kuruzawa is also treated equally. So she is now missing. Is it easy to contact me now? Oreki sent a message to Kuruzawa. Buzz dash. However, the phone vibrated immediately. The other party called. Well. Is it so fast? Oreki-san was shocked because the other party's actions were a bit too proactive. So he is not good at contacting girls. Hey, Houtarou, do you have anything to say to me? Kuruzawa's pleasant voice came over. She was probably in a relatively small space. Because a faint echo can be heard. Call him Houtarou. Although it's not that it's not allowed, the only people who would call him that were family members. I saw the class evaluation scores of the 4 classes, and your score for Class D is 0. Oreki considered his words. Yeah, I saw it too. Houtarou, you guys in Class A are so strong, with 1,230 points. Teacher Chibashira said that this is the extra points you get for your performance on top of the 1,000 points. But the score of Class D is 0, so there is no living expenses this month. In this case, I only have more than 6,000 points on hand, Kuruzawa said. But Kushida-san seems to still have some points. I'm going to borrow some from her. Are you in a hurry? Is he in a hurry? What is he so anxious about? Wait a minute, is he still lacking in numbers here? That's not what I meant. Oreki-san quickly stopped her. Not to mention that Kushida-san also got points from him, and Oreki was short of points, but there was no need for girls to borrow points. Look at your phone now. He typed information quickly. Megami seemed to pause for a moment. Then he made a cute sound. Feng, Houtarou. Why did you transfer 200,000 points to me? Kuruzawa exclaimed. Yes. What Oreki transferred to her was not 50,000, nor 100,000. But 200,000. Thank you very much for your points last time, Houtarou, Oreki said. Give it back to you now. But I only gave you 50,000 points. Class D doesn't have points right now, right? Your points helped me a lot before, and now I want to give something back, Oreki said. That's it? Kuruzawa seemed to pause for a moment, not knowing what he was thinking, but quickly replied, I understand, I will accept it. So, is this what it feels like to be a sponsor? Oreki Houtarou gained a new experience. Thanks to the person who transferred 1 million to him, he also had this idea of supporting others, and felt, not bad. And the other side. Since most of the lunch break has passed, the students returned to the classroom after finishing their meal. And here is the classroom of Class A. Everyone is used to the class being divided into 3 groups. However, despite being a member of the 3 factions, Oreki-san seems to be inactive, so his supporters often cannot find him. Oreki-san isn't here, one student said. This student is looking for traces of Oreki-san. It should be said that in the new month, the Itanyanagi faction and the Katsuragi faction have become more obvious. So he has been asked several times whether he wants to join the Sakayanagi faction or the Katsuragi faction. Hashimoto, for example, was originally a trilateral faction, but under this situation, he decided to withdraw from Katsuragi's small group, and then officially join the Itanyanagi faction. It seems that he is more optimistic about Sakayanagi Yuzu. But this is not shameful to the Katsuragi faction. At the same time. But congratulations, Katsuragi-san. The people of the Katsuragi faction congratulated Katsuragi Yasuhei. Katsuragi-san went to the student union to report at the end of the second period in the morning. Although it is a position that can be bought with money, it is still very helpful for Class A to be able to officially join the job and become a member of the student union. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 60. Everyone knows the rules of the school, knows that the student union has great power, and some important news can be known in advance. It's a harmless thing. So it's a scene that adds to the brilliance. And he got the position of secretary of the student union. It is said that the current student council president Horikita Manabu also started as secretary when he joined the student union. Although the probability is a bit small, you can still expect something, right? The students in class A were inspired. The Banlieue school students had long faces. Among them, as the second-ranking member of the Itanyanagi faction, Maesumi Kamuro had a straight face. Maesumi Kamuro. But she wasn't jealous of Katsuragi's outstanding performance. She's just doing her job. Kamuro-san is now sitting in her seat, watching the scene in the class. Sakayanagi often arranges for her to do things to obtain information. So now if I sit quietly, listen and watch, I am also collecting information. But she was a little curious. The class is talking about 2 things now. One, Katsuragi-san paid 1 million to Oreki-san to obtain a position in the student union, and then reported success. This is a good thing for Class A, but for the Sakayanagi faction, their side's momentum has weakened. 2 in the morning, the whole class heard that Oreki Houtarou was being kept by someone, and the other party transferred 1 million. And she felt that the lunch break was almost over, and it was a bit strange that Sakayanagi didn't let her explore the second point. Because doesn't this guy really care about Oreki? Now that he is being taken care of, doesn't he care? Or is she just a heartless woman? As for today, the homeroom teacher, Mr. Mashima, actually pointed out that there will be a written test on the 24th. Kamuro-san has already received tutoring to fill in the gaps. Even if the whole class gets 100 points, the passing score will only be 50 points. She can get a score of 60, so it is very safe. Not worried at all. But things have changed in the class now. Katsuji-san, you said that the student council president invited me to go to the student council office after school, Sakayanagi said. Sakayanagi Yuzu was sitting on his seat, holding a book. And Katsuragi Kahei walked over. I just received the message from the president. Katsuragi nodded. Because our class performed well, he originally stopped allowing first-year students to join the student union. But the decision was made to make a special exception. Then give you the identity of an accountant by name. Katsuragi said. The members of Banryu sect immediately paid attention. Among them, Masayoshi Hashimoto, who withdrew from the Katsuragi faction and came to the Itanyanaga faction, breathed a sigh of relief. So, isn't Banryu very good? This also shows that you did not choose the wrong route. So, you don't have any new instructions. Kamuro Maesumi watched all this silently, then took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Sakayanagi Arisu. Instructions, that's right. Yuzu Sakayanagi opened his own group. This is a group established by Hashimoto, the loser of the Itanyanaga faction, and then transferred the identity of the group leader to her. Sakayanagi Yuzu met a person from the Sakayanagi faction. The name is Ghost Head Falcon. He is similar to Kamuro Maesumi. He seems to be a person who is not very good at or does not like to communicate with others, but he is also a sensitive person. He was one of the first people to join the Banryu sect. Belonged to core members. After Itaiji et al. Married this classmate, she gave him the identity of the accountant that Katsuragi-san had just mentioned, given to her by the president. Let him report to the student union after school in the afternoon. Are you satisfied with this, Kamuro-san? It's a pity if you are interested in the identity of the accountant. I can't let you go yet. I have limited mobility and I still need you. Oh. That's it? So is she taken seriously? Because Sakayanagi still needed her, he didn't give her the position of accountant. So in Sakayanaga's mind, she is above Kato-san. It's not right. How could he seem to be competing for favor? Not a pet. The divine room. No, I mean, don't you need me to follow Houtarou Oreki today? He received that kind of message in the morning. So is it possible to take advantage of his lunch break to have a private meeting with the woman who wants to keep him? Kamuro quickly pointed out what he really meant. It wasn't the student council position she cared about, okay. In fact, she kind of wanted it, but she also knew that she didn't have the strength. At the same time, she also has an unexplainable flaw. If the perceptive student council president discovers it, she may be expelled from school. So Kamuro-san actually resists going to the student union. Tracking, no need because it's obvious where Oreki-san is going. But Sakayanagi-san's message came quickly. The class evaluation scores of our class came out very early, and Katsuragi-kun went to report after the second period. And the student council president should have already known the results of our class, so if the president wants to reward our class for outstanding performance, then Katsuragi-kun will report it and he will give it directly. So, Katsuragi-kun's notification of the accountant's position happened during the lunch break. What do you think happened during this time? The little princess of the Sakayanagi faction typed calmly. The divine room. In other words, do you think Oreki got this? So, did Oreki do something without her knowing? While Kamuro was thinking, Sakayanagi Arisu's message came over again. And Oreki-san went to the student union specifically to explain that he wanted to obtain information about the person who supported him. and since he needs to obtain the other party's information, it means he doesn't know that person, right? Since it is a stranger, it may be a senior, or even the student council president or other faculty members. After all, he made a huge splash during the part-time work rights incident, so many people in the school should be paying attention to him. And if it is the latter, then you will pay such a huge sum of money in advance, which means that what you have to do is very troublesome. For Oreki-san, I'm afraid it's troublesome by Sakayanagi Arasu. The Divine Room. In other words, you don't think this is a guarantee? Is it more like being caught up in some troublesome person? That's really bad. No wonder Oreki-san hasn't come back yet. I see. Kamuro-san nodded. She glanced at Oreki Houtarou's table, but it was still empty. Oreki-san hasn't come back yet. Yes. Oreki didn't come back. After contacting Kuruzawa, he received a message from Horikita Suzun of Class D. Oreki-san, I can't resist Chibashira-sensei, so I'm asking for support by Horikita Suzun. Seeing this message asking for help, Oreki was stunned for a moment. Because Horikita-san. Less than 10 minutes have passed. Can't you last even 10 minutes? But it's a pity that Horikita-san couldn't hold on for even 10 minutes. 10 minutes ago. Horikita Suzun and Oreki went in different directions. Oreki went to the student union, while Horikita Suzun followed Chibashira-sensei's message and went to the top floor of the teaching building. Normally, no students come to this kind of place. However, in the past month, we can often see Mr. Chibashira walking up after finishing his class. Then, some students said that there was an ashtray on the roof of the building, and the ashtray had a lot of women's cigarette butts. Ladies, cigarette butt? In other words, Chibashira-sensei went upstairs to smoke. Indeed. As the class teacher, Class D's performance was very poor. Then as the head teacher, she would also be very worried. Even though they knew the school rules on the first day, the students in Class D were unable to control themselves, or in other words, they just messed up and failed to control themselves, resulting in being in the most ordinary classroom under the camera. I also got a lot of points deducted. So every teacher looks like he has a headache. But in Horikita's opinion, Chibashira-sensei is actually a bit weird.